Okay, if you're curious about this thing, this is what you get. You get a cord to charge it. You'll need to plug it into something else to actually charge it. You get a barely legible manual, cover, and that's it. Now when I got mine, it came without a microcard, and when I turned it on, it was all in Chinese. Now I have since fixed that, but if you have it and you have it without a card, you're going to get a menu that looks like this but in Chinese, and eventually you'll be able to go down here to the settings and change it, but you need a card with the system files. So right now nothing happens. There's no games, no nothing. Now if you were to take a micro card, put some ROMs on it, try to run it, guess what? You're not going to be able to run them. You need the system files. Now, I was able to find the system files, and you can probably find them too, but if not, I'll post a link in the description and you can download them. Now I've removed the ROMs though, so all you're going to be getting is the base system files, which will allow you to add ROMs and change the settings to English and save them. Now there's a trick to saving the settings. I'll show you that in a second. So at some point you're going to be able to access things. We'll just move over to the settings, and then the third one is going to be language. English, Chinese. Now before, when I would power off, it would revert back to Chinese. But somebody in a comment somewhere said that to save your settings, you power the machine down by pressing start, which is right there, and holding it. So you press it, and eventually the system will shut off. And then when you turn it back on, it'll always be in English. So thanks, random person on the internet, for that. So if you don't have the card, this thing won't do anything. If you have the card, you have to have the system files. So I'm imagining whoever I bought it from kept the card. You're a cheap bum. And I hope you have a bad Christmas. But I was able to find the system files. You can find them too. Now if you do find them, what you'll get in terms of extra ROMs is there'll be a couple pages and sort of a hodgepodge of games. So it'll recognize the card. You'll get 3 little dots on the side. Scroll down, and you've got a collection of games here. I think there's some Capcom games. I think there's a NES game. They're okay. They're in English, I think. The ones I've tried were. So what happens is you're going to add your ROMs to the micro card. You're going to go up to game. It's got these preset icons, and then you just pick from what you want. Now, for some reason, the MAME files I couldn't get to work. I think I got one to work, so that might be a problem. But I wasn't able to figure it out. What it does play is it plays Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, NES, Super NES, Genesis. It doesn't play Sega Master System, and like I said, MAME. But the other ones played fine. I didn't really have any problems. You know, it's a cheap machine, so don't expect it to be like Game Boy quality, but you know, it plays, the screen's nice. Now in terms of the battery life, I charged it up and I played it non-stop, and the battery lasted 3 hours and 12 minutes. And before the battery finally cacked, I got about 4 or 5 warnings saying low battery, low battery. So it just didn't turn off in mid-game. So I got some heads up. And it took just a little bit under 3 hours to charge the battery. So I like it. I think it's okay. It's built cheap. Like, if you wanted to, you could probably crush it with your hands. But it's better than some Chinese handheld that I've had. The D-pad is fine, the buttons are fine. The only thing is there's 2 triggers on here. So if you have a game that requires triggers, you press that trigger, you're going to exit out. So that kind of sucks. But for the older games, they didn't have triggers, so it's not a big deal. This pad right here, or this directional stick, like almost every other directional stick on these cheap handhelds, is kind of crappy. It's a little less crappy than some other ones I've tried, but for every game I played, I usually just played with a D-pad and it was fine. And that's about it. So if you order this online and you have the opportunity to ask them if you're going to be getting a card with the system files. If not, look for the system files. Like I said, I'm going to post a link to the bare minimum without the ROMs, and that should be able to get you going. But I was able to find the system files with the ROMs online, and I'm sure you can too. I think I paid just under $30. It's probably a lot cheaper than that somewhere else, but you know, even at $30, I'm more than happy with it. I think I've seen it for like $15 somewhere else, and for that price, and even for $30, you'll get a lot of fun out of it. And that's about it. So if you can get it with a card, excellent. If not, track the card down first, otherwise you might end up getting yourself a toy that you can't use. And that's it. Okay, I forgot to add one thing. That happens to get older, you forget things. But so it does play Game Boy, but when you go to the game setting, Game Boy games aren't listed in the default directory. So to play them, you can't put them, say, under MAME. That doesn't work. I tried that. But what you can do is you just put them in a folder on your XD card. You go to the folder option, and then you just find it in here, and then you can play it there. So that's how Game Boy works. Maybe something else works that I didn't try. But to play Game Boy, you've got to put it in its own folder and just go to the folder icon. And that's it.